Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. This is a special transmission about the latest Hindenburg revelations. They have asked some very inconvenient questions of the SEBI chairman, 𝗣𝗬𝗽 Buch and her husband. Now, before we jump into the merits of what that article is, I want to play a video for you. This was released on April 30th, 2019, right after the SEBI put out a report on the NSE co-location scam. Now, remember, this is 5 years ago, and watch this video because this sets the context up for what we are going to be discussing today about the latest situation. And please like this video, and you will see that in 5 years, not much has changed. Here we go.
This quick monologue is about today's order by the Securities Exchange Board of India against the executives of the National Stock Exchange. I can say with a heavy heart that despite showing copious proof of writing for years together on the malfeasance that occurred with the co-location scam, that the SEBI's order that has been passed today is a total eyewash. Whatever be the compulsions, I just can't believe that SEBI overlooked all the data that was presented. And what about the logs? Did they even go through the logs of the period 2010 to 2014? Do they know who are the actual owners in NSE, National Stock Exchange? Who are the shareholders? There is 33% or close to that, which is all foreign shareholders. Do you really know who they are, SEBI? Do you know who is benefiting from this light slap on the wrist? And what about Mr. Ajay Shah, who is continuing to make money off of the nifty 50 that he designed? This is laughable. What is happening here is gross miscarriage of justice. And I'm sorry to say, Mr. Narendra Modi, your government is unable to rein in, unable to really deliver justice. SEBI, you need to understand that you serve for the best interest of the shareholders. And what NSE is, it is the stock exchange where everybody comes to trade. You made sure that other than NSE, there is no other viable exchange. Everybody else got gobbled up or weakened so much that there is nothing left to trade in the other places. And now when there is malfeasance of a gross order, we're talking about 50 to 60,000 crores over a period of 5 years, when select people benefited using scurrilous means to do this thing, and you just let them all off with a slap on the wrist. I mean, I have seen some of the depositions of these so-called executives. It's laughable. If that's what you got paid big bucks for, then I have a bridge to sell. I can make 10 times more effective management of NSE with half the salaries that some of you turkeys got. This is laughable, deplorable, and I hate to say this thing, that after 5 years of BJP rule, that Mr. Chidambaram's writ still runs large in the financial markets. He is still able to do whatever he wants to do. You'll just have the one-off instance where something happens unexpected against him, but then they go back and appeal that in a court and then put it back, tie it up in litigation. A few more years, the can gets kicked down the road. Tariq pe tariq. Come on now, when is India going to wake up and realize that unless you have a strong, fair, and equitable stock market where people can sell their goods for efficient price discovery, where people can raise money for their new project ideas, this is not going to happen. All the things that have been sold, all the low-hanging fruit have already been picked. The 7% growth is more because of the redefinition of GDP. I don't buy all that stuff. It doesn't matter. Okay, there is some growth. I don't deny that. There is some FPI coming in. But really, SEBI is completely ignoring to do what it is supposed to be tasked with. It needs to protect the interests of the shareholders. These people belong in jail with a clawback provision to take back all the money that was given, not 25% over a small period of 2-3 years. That's peanuts. I mean, this is completely rigged. I hate to say this thing, but it is a complete rig, a sham, what is happening. And people don't seem to understand that you can fool them for some time, but you cannot fool them all the time. You need to understand that this is not going to stop here. These things will be challenged. By the way, all this order was passed in haste. Was it because of the PIL that got filed in Delhi High Court today? Come on now. You think that's going to stop anything? This order is going to be challenged, and it should be challenged. And this kind of malfeasance, this kind of corruption that is happening is unbelievable, and it beggars belief that we are in 2019 with this kind of thing still going on. By the way, I've also heard that co-location and dark fibers are still being used. Can anyone tell me that it is not true, that this has been completely stopped? SEBI, wake up, smell the coffee, smell the tea, smell the concoction of whatever it is that you wake up to in the morning, but please work. Please do your job. This is not what is expected of you. This is a very, very disappointing judgment, the ruling that you have come up with. And I cannot believe that after so much proof, so much documentation provided about what needs to be done, that you would still go ahead and pass this order. Shame on you.
So that was 5 years ago, April 30th, 2019, when SEBI had passed a very dodgy order. See, everybody got carried away by the fine, 1,000 crores on NSE. But if you start looking into the details of the report, they omitted using the word fraud. And you have to use the word fraud for the appeal to sustain or for the appeal to stand when the NSE, like Ravi Narayanan, Chitra Ramakrishna, anybody else, there were like 5 or 6 people around that, when they went and appealed, it was a given, because the appellate tribunals that the UPA established, whether it is the SEBI appellate tribunal or the income tax appellate tribunals, these are all the places where you can do adjustments. First, declare somebody guilty, the guilty party comes to you, then you make a deal, and then afterwards in the appellate tribunal, you are let off for want of sufficient evidence. So when we read the report, we found that SEBI had omitted to use the word fraud. I mean, guys, co-location scam, if in case you have not been keeping up, essentially what it was, if you remember in the 70s and 80s, or probably even into the 90s, as a family, you go to the movie theater and tickets are sold out. But somebody is selling the tickets at 40% premium, 50% premium. What is a householder going to do? Head of the household do? This is a Sunday afternoon, you have plans, you want to go to the movie, then you want to go eat at a good restaurant, then go home. Right? So you grudgingly pay up. Essentially, same thing was happening in the stock market. And this was facilitated, it was proven by SEBI Technical Action Committee. They said that this malfeasance had happened. That it wasn't like, I am saying anything that, is a conjecture here. So when the evidence of crime is black and white and presented in front of you, the report that the SEBI WTM whole-time member came up with avoided the word fraud. The computation and all that stuff, in my opinion, wasn't enough, because the alleged crime was 60,000 crores. And 1,000 crores for the NSE, because NSE was trying to go public. This is 2019, okay? Even today, they have not gone public, mainly because of the amount of data that sites like PGurus, journalists like 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and a few others have provided. One of them, one of our big crusaders, unfortunately, is no more, Shantanu Rai Guha. So this is how SEBI operates. At that time, in 2019, it was not 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Buch who was the SEBI chairman, but it was Ajay Tyagi. And I had labeled him an incompetent nincompoop. It is my allegation that he was placed there by Arun Jaitley at the behest of P. Chidambaram. These two people, Chidambaram and Jaitley, you should know what Swami talks about them, how he characterizes them. Two sides of the same coin. So whatever it is, whatever the compulsions of the Modi government at that point of time, they could not override what Jaitley was trying to do. But today, 5 years have elapsed, and still the same kinds of things are going. By the way, guys, I've looked at the allegations by Hindenburg. What they're saying is it's the same player that is coming into picture as the previous one, which is the brother of Adani, Gautam Adani. His name is Vinod Adani. Evidently, he runs a fund called Global Dynamic Opportunities Fund, GDOF. And in 2015, Looks like there has been some correspondence. You can go take a look at the reference link I have provided. This is written in pgurus.com. Go and read that to get all the details. At this point of time, the allegations that Hindenburg is making are all based on one private email and one other data point that they are providing. Okay, so you take a look at that. But personally, how clean are the SEBI chairman? I'm going to ask you some questions and you can decide what is the cleanliness of this person. You know, when 𝗣𝗬𝗍𝗼 Buch was appointed, they said, oh, before this, it was always an IAS officer that used to be SEBI chairman. Now you have a full-time banker. Yes, before she became the chairman, she was a whole-time member of SEBI. Okay, she was working in SEBI. She just rose through the ranks and then she became the chairman. See, the thing is, here is where the plot thickens a little bit. 𝗣𝗬𝗍𝗍𝘅's husband apparently used to work in Singapore, and when she was the whole-time member, many allege that she used to fly every weekend to Singapore in first class. Okay, now think about it. A whole-time member, how much money do you think they are making? How much does a first-class return fare ticket cost to go to Singapore and come back every weekend? That is the allegation. Okay, nobody looked at this stuff. Suddenly, 𝗣𝗬𝗍𝗍𝘅 Buch was like the cleanest person available. And now we are having allegations at the doorstep. Now, this is not the first time that SEBI has been seen in collusion with the person that they are alleging of fraud. I have a long story in NDTV where somebody who had gone to the court in SEBI Appellate Tribunal. So, okay, what happened in NDTV, I'll also tell you. SEBI fined NDTV some money. Then NDTV, of course, appealed. So in the appeal, where does NDTV appeal? A SEBI order can be appealed in SEBI Appellate Tribunal. So NDTV went and appealed at the SEBI Appellate Tribunal. Somebody who had gone there to watch the proceedings was shocked to see the SEBI lawyers taking directions from the NDTV legal team. Are both are together. And he just told me, look, there is no hope. NDTV is going to get away scot-free, and that's exactly what happened. NSC, nobody went to jail other than Chitra Ramakrishna because they wanted to show that they could jail someone. And that's only because Ravi Narayanan escaped and he's holed up in London. Ajay Shah, it is believed to be also holed up in London today. But the 1,000 crore, NSC hasn't paid it yet. Why? Because the word fraud was not in the SEBI report. So you tell me, guys, how clean of a job SEBI is doing. SEBI is supposed to represent the shareholders' interest. In other words, your and mine. If we own shares, they are supposed to represent your interest, and they are you. They are fighting for your rights. I mean, even if you own mutual funds under systematic investment plans, you are still a shareholder because the mutual fund in turn owns shares of various companies. So SEBI is supposed to be representing your interests. Now, the right thing to do at this point of time, okay, the right thing to do, if I were in Nirmala Sitharaman's shoes, this is what I would do. I would ask 𝗣𝗬𝗍𝗍𝘅 Buch to step aside, okay, and conduct a full investigation. And if the chips fall where they may, you have to act. And for once, show spine and act. And I'm telling you, I am a BJP admirer. I'm not a BJP supporter. I'm not a BJP member. Of all the bad eggs, this is the least bad egg. That's all I can say for India. So I have no brief for anybody. I'm just going by the facts, plain and simple. And I'm saying that it is time now that BJP act. Whatever be the equation between Jaitley and Chidambaram, that's all water under the bridge, gone now. Nobody is there now. And today, if you want to do things right, you have to do this action. Okay, ask her to step aside, bring in a no-nonsense, somebody who knows what is going on in SEBI, who can run SEBI like a tight ship to come in and take the place. Because you want 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗍𝘅 Bharat, you want the stock markets to be fair, financial, free, and transparent. And it is my belief that they are not. And unless that happens, you are not going to have the kind of progress that India can enjoy. And it is possible to do this thing. It's a few bad apples that is doing all this stuff. And unfortunately or fortunately, either the Modi government is too dumb or too timid to act against them. You choose whichever one it is. And if you think I'm full of BS, please feel free to let me know by way of comments and tell me why. Because I am saying all this after having observed this for close to 9 years. And this is far too serious for anyone to think that an economy which is number 5 by nominal GDP and number 3 by PPP still doesn't have a fully functioning stock exchange and a fully transparent markets. This is the truth. You take it, you like it, you don't like it, it's okay. People will come and tell you, whitewash you, saying that, oh, people have enjoyed 16% stock returns over so many years, you're BS, you're always a doomsday. Listen, you should be getting 100% return. That is my take on this. Okay, so I'm going to take a few questions from you all, and whatever the questions are, I'm just going to try my best to answer them. But just give me 1 minute so that I can go through all the comments to see how many questions are there. So Krishna Prayaga says, America Ninda Dongale. That means America is full of thieves. Krishna, that's a good opinion on your part. And then Reachnag wants to say, Namaskara Iyer Avare. Namaskara Reachnag Avare. Thanks for responding to me in Kannada. I can read a little bit of Kannada. So I feel blessed that you all think that I am one of you. And actually, I am one of you. It doesn't matter where I live, guys. I am an average Indian. Whatever I have become today, whatever it is that I do today is all because of what Bharat Mata taught me. I love my Punya Bhumi, I love my Janma Bhumi, and I also love my Karma Bhumi. Okay, so I'm just going with data. I don't know what it is that they have a smoking gun, but the data looks pretty compelling, I must tell you. So here is somebody saying that SEBI chairperson is corrupt. So anonymous wants to know, is the allegations. So read the article, and in the article there is a complete Hindenburg report. So you can read the report also. Okay. Look, it's all dependent on the data that is furnished in front of it. A court is going to rule only on the data presented in front of it. And if Hindenburg just wants to shoot and scoot, like for example, they want to drain Adani's stock, they can do that. I mean, you can do that to any stock, for example. So this could be one of the methods. Today is Sunday, tomorrow is Monday. The stock market may open. Adani might have a correction, and then it will come back up if there is no substance in the claims. I'm not at this point saying that the allegations made are true or false. All I'm saying is this is the evidence presented. You make up your mind, and you, by way of comments, can respond in this. I know PMO office looks at this because I'm not exactly a card-carrying member of, I'm not a Gango supporter, I'm not a buck of anyone. And I tell it, I see it, I say it. That's all. It's up to you whether you want to take the advice and act on it or not. It's up to you. So this is what I've already told you what should be done. Somebody saying, as an Indian, I will do nothing based on Hindenburg. So Dhaka, don't get emotional about this. They have presented the data. They have said there is a money trail. In 2015, there was an email also. Okay, and this is what has been presented. Read the report. Read the report. Then make your own conclusions. Listen, Karanbir Singh, my friend, I'm telling you again, I'm not judging one way or the other. All I'm saying is I've seen instances in the past where SEBI's actions have been dodgy. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I just reproduced a recording I did moments after I got that order. I mean, and you can see it was actually live, and I barely made a mistake. And I usually make some mistakes. It's just flow is difficult to come. But 5 minutes I spoke practically non-stop, because it was something that I had done for 5-6 years. From 2015, I think, I've been following this whole thing, because the first time NSE, they had allegations at their doorstep. A whistleblower had written about what was going on in the co-location scam. It has been proven now. The scam did happen. I am alleging even today, I alleged in 2019, I'm alleging even today that there is a fast pipe between Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. This is illegal. It is not supposed to be there. I'm alleging that it is still there, and people are still benefiting from this. People are still essentially scalping tickets, getting ahead of everybody else. It's called front running. You can go and read about what exactly this is. My take is, by now, the stock market should have been completely free, fair, and transparent, and they would be giving you much higher return. You don't need a mutual fund. You could have easily just applied in stocks and made the money. That's all my point is. Okay. First question from Confused Chocolate Bonbons. Sree sir, aren't the stock exchanges built for control of the rates and loot a part of the effort by the middlemen? Sanatani view from your end. My dear man, the problem in the stock exchanges is that I had also, see, it's not fair. It's not a level playing field. I'll tell you why. The farther you are from the servers, the server that actually brings the seller of a stock and buyer of a stock together, the farther you are geographically, the more disadvantaged you are. I'll give you an example. Many companies actually sit in the Bandra Kurla complex, right by the side of the matching engine. This engine is in this room, they are trading right there. So this is one side of the deal. The other side, let's say you are sitting in Bangalore. Okay, from Bangalore, it will take at least 200 to 250 milliseconds for your order to come through and come back. Okay, so who do you think has the benefit? The guy sitting by the side of the server. So these are the things that needed to be fixed. And I had suggested how America, at least one exchange in America, fixed it. I don't think anything has happened. So the simpler thing is in India, because of all the challenges that we have, was to move the stock exchange, like for example, National Stock Exchange, to Nagpur. Why Nagpur? Because it's geographically practically at the center of the country. So no matter who is trading from where, the distance sort of like is the same. So everybody has an equal chance at buying a particular share at a good price. It's a little complex. Many of us don't trade in the stock market, so people think, I don't trade in this, so I don't bother. But if you are a middle class employee, if you are working in many of the companies, now they have got this systematic investment plans, also called as SIPs, and they force you to invest in that. And those are essentially giving you mutual funds who in turn give you a certain percentage of return for a fee, right? So you are getting affected. You want a strong SEBI that represents your interests and does not bend or budge. The question here is, did 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗍 bend and give Adani or was the beneficiary of the Adani investment program? Okay, so the amounts are not disclosed yet, but the data has been presented by Hindenburg. So go with an open mind, take a look at it, and by way of comments, you can give what you think, because the report also is there. So if you go and click in the description section, there's a references. There's only one file, PGurus.com report. Inside the PGurus.com report, there is a summary. So you get the summary. Then, if you want more details, there's a link there about the Hindenburg Research report. Go and click that and read that, and then you make up your mind. All right. Beyond Infinity says, actually, SEBI chairperson is involved, I really think. Well, that's why I'm asking all these questions. It is for 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗍 to answer. Was she going every weekend on a WTM salary to Singapore to be with her husband? Nothing wrong in that, if you can afford it. If you can show proof of finances that you are independently wealthy, that it doesn't matter, that you are working in SEBI because you are very altruistic, fine, prove it. I'm not judging you. I'm just asking you, is this true? That's all. Okay. So we have now come to a close of this program, and really, really thank you for all the response that you have given. Anonymous says stock market must be transparent. Yes, I completely agree. And here is an interesting thing. Ganesh Jayaraman says, are US stock markets not rigged? My dear man, do read the book called Flash Boys. Mike Lewis, wonderful reading, because the NSE co-location scam is inspired from what happened in NASDAQ. And that what happened in NASDAQ is captured in this book, Flash Boys. FLASHBOYS. Mike Lewis, about 1 inch thick, fantastic book, fantastic book. How people were trying to game the system to try and get ahead of everybody else is explained, and that's exactly what Ajay Shah went and implemented at the National Stock Exchange. And except it was done in a poor man's way, And I've done many programs on this, so I'm not going to belabor you with all the details. But essentially, it is my contention that the US stock markets are also rigged. They continue to be rigged. Today, nobody will make money if you are a day trader in US stock market. You may make some money if you are a long-term investor. That is the only way to make money. And I urge all those of you who have spare money and time, who are doing day trading, please don't do that. Do your research, do long-term investment, and you will make money in the long run. Don't get that sugar kick. Oh, I made 1,000 rupees today because I bought HDFC here and I sold it here. It's not worth it. By the time they take all the commissions and all that stuff, it's peanuts. But you'll lose 5 other bets and you'll win 1 bet. So instead, do your research, do long-term investment. You will come out far ahead. That's all I can say. Beyond infinity, I'm sorry, I don't know. I stopped following SEBI, this 30% tax on banning future and options trading. Beyond, one thing about this, how many of us really understand the futures and options trading? Because the maximum money transactions were happening in F&Os. And if you don't understand how the F&O market works, then essentially you are doing a gamble. You're just hoping that the mob will bring the prices up and then you can sell on a high and leave. So maybe that is why they wanted to curb the F&O trading, which is why they implemented a 30% tax. Without going more into detail, I can't say whether it was good or bad. Sorry. Western media, Rekha Agarwal says, Western media narrative through Hindenburg spoiling Bharat growth story. Hindenburg must become a Bharat entity and then act as a whistleblower as per Bharat law. Rekha ji, the whistleblower who wrote about the National Stock Exchange co-location scam, you know what happened to him? I don't. He's gone missing. So India, people risk their life and limb when they try to stand up against the system. So whether Hindenburg is spoiling Bharat's progress or not, first look at what data they are presenting. Is there merit in the data? And if there is, then you have to act on it. I'm saying that SEBI should be doing a much better job than what it is doing. And I have presented you with examples. Mehul Singh says, do you believe that Hindenburg is straight? I don't know, Mehul. I really don't know who works behind there. I do know this. You see, what happened is that participatory notes were an instrument for foreign investors to bring money into India. And if you brought money into India through participatory notes, you had to have a shell firm in Mauritius. So what you would do is you would sit somewhere in the world, take money and take a position against a particular stock, move the money first into a Mauritius shell corporation, and from that Mauritius shell corporation, you will place the orders on the stock market, whether it is a National Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange. Now, this was all done in a planned way. That is, people knew that a particular day, a particular stock is going to go through this swing. And how did they know that? That was by getting the order book. That is, see, mutual funds move lots of shares because they are rebalancing their portfolios. They'll move 10,000 shares of Infosys, for example. Okay. Now, what happens is, if the order book is available to you hours before trading starts, then a company that was encouraged by Mr. Ajay Shah, who's also the founder of Nifty 50 with his dubious wife, dubious meaning like both of them have dubious PhDs in my opinion. They both are, anyway, less said the better. So his sister-in-law had a company, and that company was selling software on how to essentially game the system. So people were making money hand over fist by gaming the system. And oh, by the way, if you bring in money into the Indian stock market through a Mauritius company, and if you make capital gains, that capital gains are not taxed. You get the picture? So if you can create a situation where you are putting money on one company, like say one stock, and you just keep buying that, this is the worthless piece of paper. Okay, Rolls-Royce India Limited, or no, I'm sorry, not Rolls-Royce, ABC India Limited. It has nothing. It is just a letterhead company, but suddenly 10 crores of share buying happens. So the share starts going from 10 rupees to like 1,000 rupees. Now, the average investor is looking at it. Pink sheets start writing about this stock. Everybody starts jumping into the stock. This stock starts riding 10, 20, 100, something similar to what that other guy did in 1990s. Mehta, Harshad Mehta did. He used to always say ACC is my favorite stock, and he used to keep bumping up ACC stock, Associated Cement or something like that, cement company. Okay, so something like that happens here. So the stock keeps going up, 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 up. The money that has been brought in by these FIIs through the Mauritius route, they are waiting. So at this point, somebody has to buy this stock at this inflated price. Okay, and it's the common man is all hoping that somebody will come in and buy, and they will make the money. Now, what happens if there is no buyer here? It will collapse back to the 10, because people realize that this was all a hype. It's called stock pump and dump. But it is believed that a certain finance minister would call up a certain insurance company and a certain bank, both of them, and tell them, go buy the share. This is worth its weight in gold. I don't have to tell you which insurance company and which bank has worthless piece of shares now. And they go and buy it. So what happens? All these people who came up, they all make tons of money, and those people who invested the money through Mauritius, they got their capital gains completely tax-free. Not only that, the money made, let us say, $10 billion was made. It's a big number. Let's say $10 million was made in one trade. Okay, that $10 million is not only tax-free, but it can be taken out as dollars instantly. RBI will allow you to do that. All this legislation was done by Mr. P. Chidambaram. The participatory note concept was introduced by Yashwant Sinha as the finance minister in the BJP rule, but Chidambaram took it to a whole new level. And that still continues. Even today, the BJP government is afraid to touch it. So this is how people used to make money. So whether Hindenburg is straight or not, this is the route given to many foreign investors to come in and make money off of poor Indian stocks. And the government hasn't done anything about it. How long can I keep telling, guys? To 2016 onwards, I started writing. We are in 2024, 8 years now. Go read PGurus.com articles and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm not bitter or anything like that. I just see that the potential of the stock market is not being realized. Many startups can directly go public and make money get the money from the investors, because SEBI is supposed to make sure that the startup that is going to file IPO has its papers in order, has the proper documentation, all the checks and balances in place, and then they give approval to go list on a stock exchange. It's up to the startup founders to go find the buyers. See, this is what is supposed to happen, and this is how America grew to be what it is today. And India has a big opportunity here. Are Indians going to be allowed to make use of this opportunity? I don't know. I don't know if it is going to happen in my lifetime. Why not Hindenburg report is a part of insider trading? It's very much possible, PK. I mean, like, don't say Hindenburg is bad and don't do that. Look at the data and then you come up with your own conclusions. Here is another one. Prasanna Venkatesh says, you are absolutely correct, but if we accepting them, tomorrow Hindenburg will place a false allegation against PM also. Their intention is to collapse India in this situation. So what do we have to do? See, one time, if you follow the complete process till the end and do the corrective measure, then everybody benefits. Not just Hindenburg, but you also and we also, right? So to take a quick look at it, I am hoping that because the opposition is bigger, and I'm sure they're going to make a lot of noise, that people are probably taking notes from what I've said now, except that they themselves are embroiled in the NSE scam, so they won't ask too many questions. It's like that guy who got his foot in his mouth, Dayanadi Maran, right? He started talking about Air India sale, and then somebody asked him, what about your own SpiceJet sale? And he just got all rattled. The same thing is going to happen in this case also. But Isn't it the responsibility of the government, whose agency is SEBI, that SEBI be free and fair and transparent and uphold the rights of the shareholders? You think about it. Yeah, Mehul, you can think of it this way, but really today, the Indian stock market is not very transparent. It's also very shallow. By shallow, what I mean is there are about 5,000 shares listed, but the number of shares traded is only 200 to 250 in a day. So what happened to the other 4,750? These are not worth the price of the paper on which they are being quoted. So how do you broaden this market? Because in US, the market is huge. How do you broaden this market? So you bring in more new players to list their shares. How do you do that? By being transparent and efficient price discovery. And how can that be done? By being fair. Is SEBI being fair? That is the question. It should not only be fair, but it should also appear to be fair. And I just presented you with an example at the very beginning where SEBI fined NSE 1,000 crores, but omitted using the word fraud, which they used to their advantage to get absolved at the SEBI Appellate Tribunal. Everything was set up. Chidambaram has his people everywhere, and many of them still continue to get extensions under the Modi dispensation. I mean, they think just because I feel that, I'm saying something, that there is no truth in it. They really need to apply their minds. They should be easing out a lot of people who are still sticking around. Because the longer they stick around, the longer they ensure that things remain the same. That is the problem. Chaitanya Takle wants to know, is Indian media not equally guilty in publicizing the Hindenburg report? After all, who knew them? True. And see, this is something to do with this color of skin. If I tell you that there is a problem in Indian market, nobody believes me because my color of skin is not white enough. But if a white man says it, everybody jumps up and down. First, figure this out. What do I have? I used to invest and trade in the market, and I stopped in 2015 when I saw that this was a joke. And for you to trade, by the way, it's not all bed of roses, because you have to have a demat account, and the money gets automatically taken out or in, especially if you're doing trading, day trading, and if you have a huge loss, the money just gets siphoned out of your bank account. You can't even put a stop on that. So it's not right, in my opinion. And they should have fixed it. I think Modi's solution to this is to start a new stock exchange in the gift city. But what happens is, you can have a new stock exchange, but who's going to trade on the new stock exchange? Brokers. How will you get new brokers? Brokers are the same, whether it is Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange, and next, the gift stock exchange. Is the gift exchange trying to make sure that the crooked brokers are being kept out? I don't know. This is a good question from Lakshman Prasad. Don't you believe that Adanis are making great contributions to the growth and prosperity of India in various critical sectors such as ports and harbors, defense engineering, airports, mining, energy, etc.? Don't confuse between a person's efficiency and performance execution to what practices they are adopting in the market. The market expects everybody to follow the same set of rules. Okay, so if there is any contravention of the rules, then who comes in and makes sure that they follow the rules? SEBI. Now, if you pay off SEBI, then SEBI looks the other way, right? This is the question that we should be looking at. I'm all admiration for what Adani has achieved. I'm told he only sleeps 3 hours a day, works very, very hard. I've seen him in person a couple of times. The thing is not against an individual, not against a corporation. It is the system. It is the process that needs to be looked at. Anonymous 1.0 wants to know, should IAS be appointed as SEBI chairperson against or no? Absolutely not. You need to bring somebody of good gravitas, preferably somebody from outside of India, whether they have worked on the NASDAQ or the NYSE or Hong Kong Stock Exchange or Singapore Stock Exchange. They have a fair amount of stocks being traded. So that means that you come across most of the problems. And bring somebody from there, bring them on a 2-year contract, don't tax-free, pay them good money, $250,000, that's worth it, but give them a free hand to implement what changes they want to bring in. That's where your problem is. And I'll give you, I don't know, it'll take a long time. It's okay. You have to go back and look at some of my other videos to understand what is a free hand. Pluto Narayanan wants to know, could you please be more precise on this statement? If SEBI really wanted to find the offshore fund holders, perhaps the SEBI chairperson could have started by looking in the mirror. Basically, what the allegation that Hindenburg is saying is that by 2015, there was an agreement whereby these people were doing some cut from an investment fund that is run by Vinod Adani, brother of 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝗿 Adani. Remember, the same Vinod Adani's name came up even when the first allegations were coming up in Hindenburg Research. Okay, so should the SEBI chairperson have owned any stock in this thing? Should they be owning any stock? Right? These are all questions. I mean, by the way, don't think that US is above board here, okay? I'm very critical of the US congressmen and women who pass a law to, exempt them from their trades. In other words, if a US congressman or woman executes trades in the stock market, and if there is some dubious stuff, like for example, they are going to bring a legislation that's going to curb a stock, and they sell all their stock before that and make a lot of money, and then the stock falls like a rock, and they go back and buy it at the lower price, and then it comes back up because some clarification will happen. This is all insider trading, pump and dump it's called, and they are exempted. So look, politics has descended a lot in every country. It's up to us to ask the hard questions and see how the government responds. Today, with a stronger opposition, it's my belief that the Modi government cannot be so arrogant and just let things be the way they are. Rekha ji, I've been telling you, I've been telling all our viewers, please give solutions for the growth of Bharat economy. The best way to do this thing is through a stock market and a very robust regulation mechanism that an entity like SEBI should provide. It has been completely compromised from inside. That needs to be fixed. See, this is the thing about stock market. If somebody shorts your stock, you need to have the proper backup plan and make sure that you stop the fall, and that like for example, today Madhavipuri Buch should be making a statement. She should be, in my opinion, resigning from the job if the government doesn't do anything, stepping aside until this thing blows over, until there is clarity on this. But those days of having moral probity in public life, those are all long gone. People have to be shunted out. Dhakka marker. That's how things are today. Okay, so many of you are expressing your feelings, and I'm sorry that this is the right thing. Amit Gupta, SEBI chief caught in conflict of interest, according to the documents provided by Hindenburg. I have to qualify that. Somebody has to really do the research and say that, yes, this is true. Because these days, anything can be fake, right? All right, guys, I think I'm going to log off now. We'll be back in an hour's time with Sumit Peer on our favorite topic, that is China. That's going to be in Hindi. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.